On April 11, 2021, the Reboot aired its last episode, Alien Extinction, making it 3 years since we've seen any version of Ben, while November 14th, 2014, Omniverse premiered its final episode, making it a decade since we've seen Prime Ben. The community, the fans, and even outside enjoyers are wondering, when will we see Ben 10 again? It be in multiverses, a comic run, an HBO Max special, something like Fiona and Cake, or something akin to the Samurai Jack revival that had premiered on Adult Swim, or even a live action adaptation, as those are pretty popular nowadays. Just something. People want Ben 10 back in some way, shape, or form. And today, I'm here to talk about what we could possibly see Ben Tennyson come back in, as, where, or what. A lot of what I'm going to be talking about today has come from quotes and interviews that people such as Duncan Rouleau and Joe Kelly have done. As they worked for Men of Action, they technically are Men of Action. So nothing here I say is confirmed or anything. Everything we're going to be doing is basically predictions based off what the creators have said. That's flat. Please don't come here expecting me to just drop some crazy ass release date for a new project. No, this is all just prediction and speculation. Alright, cool. Now, I'm sure I'm not the only one who wants to see Prime Ben return, as he is the one who put Ben 10 on the map, essentially. You know, he's our childhood. But in a recent interview Duncan Rouleau had, who is the artist for Man of Action, if you didn't know, basically said, "We don't look backwards. We are always looking for ways to explore and build on the idea. Early on, that included following Ben as he aged, but any iteration in the future will be about discovering new ways of telling Ben's story." And the way I took that was basically saying, if we see Ben 10, the franchise, come back, it probably won't be dealing with 21-year-old Ben and 18-year-old Ben. You know, I think if they do anything with Ben 10 in the future, we probably won't be seeing Prime Ben, as they seem more keen on reinventing the IP instead of continuing it, unfortunately, you know, for us Prime fans. Now, while Prime Ben getting a show seems to be out of the question, if things were to change, I would definitely want to see a comic continuation similar to the one Danny Phantom got last year. I think a comic run, or maybe just a simple book, like a graphic novel about what the space road trip looks like, that was teased at the end of Omniverse, or maybe a storyline about a slightly older Ben, maybe at 18, dealing with some sort of threat, could provide a more satisfying send-off for Prime Ben than what we got in Omniverse. Now, in the microscopic chance that Ben 10 Prime does get a series, I think the only real chance would be coming from Ben 10K. As Duncan Rouleau in that same interview said, that Ben 10K is a great character that deserves his own feature. Coupled with the fact that he also said that they want to do a take on a more mature Ben, I think a Ben 10K show would be the perfect opportunity to do that mature series. Something like the Samurai Jack revival that Adult Swim did, taking that Cartoon Network show and making it an Adult Swim show with the blood and all that type of stuff, would only really mix well for me if it's Ben 10K. You know, you get to do with a lot more adult topics, maybe a lot more serious and epic level scale action, since Ben's an adult now. I don't think you can really show a teenager getting beat the fuck up on Adult Swim like that, but maybe you can. But either way, I think still Ben 10K is the way to go. If you want to do a show both mature and just a show about him, I think that's where we could really see Prime Ben come back in a way. But to be honest with y'all, I am a hater of the whole Ben 10K series thing. I think if we ever see the future of Ben 10 again, as in like going into the future, I think Ken should lead that sort of story, in my opinion. But to each his own, I guess. Ben 10K could have some interesting stories, but to me, I just would rather see something like Ken and Devlin just go on adventures and shit, and just have Ben K be a reoccurring side character. But now, while the reboot is not everyone's cup of tea for obvious reasons, it is the most recent adaptation of Ben we got. So it's extremely possible to see him return and represent the franchise in something like Multiverses, or maybe just another Cartoon Network crossover. Other than crossover material, I think Reboot Ben is unfortunately cooked, as Duncan Rouleau said there are no immediate plans for anything Reboot related, as unless a good pitch is presented to them, they're probably not going to be doing anything with Reboot Ben. So, no Reboot Alien Force or anything like that. Those of us who have been wishing and hoping for new Ben 10 are going to have to now start realizing that whatever we get soon is going to be independent from both the Reboot and the Prime series. As Joe Kelly, co-founder of Men of Action, in a recent interview said that we have multi-generations. So I'm hoping that leads to more Ben 10, more different Bens in the future. This, along with Duncan Rouleau's quote, basically kind of show that whatever we get is probably going to be not Prime, not Reboot, but instead an entirely different Ben for us to kind of enjoy. The reason I say I welcome a new installment or reboot may come as a shock to some of you guys, as yes, I want to see Prime Ben, but with the amount of new concepts, new shows, new animation styles we're seeing in today's day, I think it's time Ben 10 hops on the trend, and I'm going to present to you the most unoriginal idea, but I think we need a Spider-Verse style Ben 10 movie. Now, yes, this sounds probably so fucking crazy, so like, of course you'd say that, but hear me out. Maybe not Spider-Verse in general, but something with some over-the-top fluid action. As Omniverse showed that Ben 10 kind of thrives with the animation style of something more over-the-top. I think Ben 10 Omniverse was at its peak. A lot of the action, a lot of the shots, it did Ben 10 a lot of justice. So I think Ben 10 could really benefit from something like Spider-Verse's animation style. Fast-paced, a lot of colors, just something vibrant and just like, ooh, just that eye candy. Even if it isn't the whole Spider-Verse level movie animation type thing we get for Ben 10, maybe something like the TMNT show that's coming out that looks pretty damn good animation-wise. But the point of this is to say that I think a new and fresh Ben 10 show is kind of what we need. I think giving the franchise the chance to reinvent itself, spread its wings more, both animation and story, as time of change, animation has evolved, storytelling has evolved. I think it is time we see a new, fresh take on Ben that doesn't limit itself to appeal to Prime fans or Reboot fans. Just something new and fresh for us to all enjoy. I think that will be the best outcome. Now, I know what you're all thinking, but just hear me out real quick. Hear me out. I know Ben 10 has dabbled with live action before, twice, and neither one of those times were exactly a slam dunk, a home run. And now the live action thing today is just like, Tom Holland is Ben 10. Oh, Timothée Chalamet is Kevin. Like, yes, that shit gets annoying. I know. But it's kind of hard to diss the fact that a live action Ben 10 is probably more possible than anything I've said prior to this, because live action adaptations are booming. The Avatar one, the One Piece one, Yu Yu Hakusho got one, My Hero's getting one. Now, majority of those are animes, but you still have the ones that Disney are making, like The Little Mermaid. Live action adaptations are booming, especially for old action cartoons or just action things in general. Like I said, the Avatar one, while it's ass, it's still booming. While I wouldn't want a Ben 10 live action show, I think it'd be stupid to ignore the possibility of it happening. And I say show because I do not want a fucking movie. Ben 10 live action would not work in a movie, for the main fact of we need to see more than 3 aliens for less than 3 seconds. I think in a show, you could stretch out the budget, give us more time with the characters, and meaning you could let us see more transformation as things go along. The biggest problem I have with the live action movies is you don't see that many aliens. And you don't see them for very long either because of budget. I think a TV show, you could see them for a nice amount of time and you can see a good amount of them. Now, I think it goes without saying though that Ben 10 will eventually come back, as it's one of the more lucrative franchises in the past decade, and the Reboot show that it really does appeal to any audience and generation. I just think it might be a while. I think our next best bet of seeing Ben is probably a Multiverses, as it's owned by WB and Ben 10's other WB, and it's a fighting game with all their iconic properties, and Ben 10 is literally a fighting game character. Like, it's so obvious. If they don't put him in fucking Multiverses, I think he's cooked, honestly. He's fucking cooked if he doesn't get in Multiverses. But besides that, I think we as fans have been very, very spoiled with Ben 10 content. Just looking back on all the content we have been giving over the past decade, the numerous seasons we have, the numerous video games, I think the Ben 10 franchise has eaten for so long that they've been spoiled and expect new content, year round or some shit. And that's not how it works. So for now, until we hear official news, I think you should just sit back and maybe enjoy just what we have, as we have a lot. And I know some of you guys haven't seen the Reboot because, it sucks, it's ugly. Just watch the Reboot if you're really that content deprived. It's not that bad, especially after the first season. There's a lot of enjoyable content there to satisfy you for, if you got any Ben 10 urges. And if your urges are really that bad, you can always just rewatch the show, as there's still plenty to take from that. Let me know in the comment section below where you want to see Ben go next. What do you want to see out of the franchise? Do you want a live action show? Do you want a new video game? Do you care about him popping up in multiverses? What version would you want in multiverses? Let me know in the comment section below. Hit that like button. Like to subscribe. What the fuck? Hit that like button, like to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Turn notifications on. Subscribe to my Patreon. Subscribe to the Patreon. I just made that. That's going to be where I kind of update you guys on what's going on with the channel. What's next. Yada, yada, yada. All that good stuff. Follow me on Twitter. Like I said, subscribe, like, turn notifications on. Please subscribe. We are almost at 1K. But until next time, it's been Dan, the Boy Wonder, signing out. Peace.